My name is Chandra DeRamus, and I work for Kentucky State University for the Cooperative Extension Program. And I am a Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent in Hardin County. And today I'm going to talk to you about some nutritious recipes for the summer. And so the first recipe that we have is the American flag kebabs. And we are going to go through the process of how to make those kebabs. And I'm going to show you what is included in the recipe. And we're also going to, I'm going to show you how they're going to be pretty kid friendly if you wanted to do these with your family or have a little activity with your more toddler size or a little bit older than toddler size kids. And we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so this recipe typically takes about 10 to 20 minutes. And it's going to depend on how many guests you serve and how many people you plan on having to actually prepare the dish for. It's fairly simple. The only thing that you're going to need is strawberries, blueberries, bananas, and you're going to need some little skewers or kebab sticks. The kebab sticks pretty much don't have to be wet. They can stay dry. And some other tips is you will have to cut your strawberries into little cubes, or not really cubes, but you can leave them whole, or you can pretty much split them in half. I would highly recommend splitting them in half, and here's the reason why. Because usually one little carton of these costs about, I'd say $5 to $6 if you're going to buy them fresh in season. Now if you're going to buy them frozen, you might be able to get a lot more out of your package, but you may not have the look of the actual kebab where the strawberries are dry. So, and the other thing to note, strawberries don't turn as quick as bananas do. Now bananas, for the banana that you're going to use for the skewer, you're going to use your whole bananas. You're going to cut them in, I'd say a little bit more than 1/4 of an inch each, in each little cubicle or a little interval, I would say. And you have your blueberries. And so what you do, you start off with a kebab stick like I have here, and you're going to go with a half of a strawberry, and you're going to start just placing all the pieces together until you make until you fill up the whole stick or whatever. So it's fairly simple, and the easy thing I like about this is you can do this with your kids at home. I mean, it's fairly simple. The only thing I would recommend is that you probably don't want to let them use the knife to cut the edges off the strawberries unless they're a little bit older. So that can get a little bit dangerous unless you got a kid-safe knife. The blueberries, there's two different kinds. And so the kind that I have are a little bit bigger, and you want to put those at the very top. And that the reason why we're putting them at the very top is the idea is that when you place them with on a place setting with your other kebabs, it's supposed to make the design of an American flag. Now I have only about 6 kebabs here, so I don't have like a full set of the American flag. But if you have a full line of guests, and I have a picture of it here, this is what it looks like in person. And pretty much their bananas, as you can see from the slide, are cut a little bit more symmetrically. You have to be very, I guess, consistent about how big you make your strawberry slices and how many blueberries you put in the top. So it's a lot about design and measuring a little bit as well. So it's a cute idea, but if you are actually running low on time and you just want to do a fun snack with your kids for the summer and that's nutritious and have them help with it, this could be something fun they could use. And also it can be good at barbecues, picnics, parties, things of that nature. So that way you don't have a snack that has too much sugar in it, and it's kind of something more nutritious for kids, because the strawberries has more vitamin C in it, the bananas has potassium, and the blueberries have vitamin A and vitamin C in high amounts. So with all that, you're going to get a lot more nutrition out of this snack versus doing, like, I'd say fruit snacks or something like that, or just giving them a candy bar or letting them eat something that doesn't have as much natural sugar. So that is how you complete the American flag fruit kebab. It's fairly simple, and I hope that you guys try this recipe and enjoy it with your family. Hi, we are about to go with another nutritious snack recipe for the summer. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the grilled chicken on a stick recipe. And so this recipe is traditionally done on an actual grill. However, today we're going to be using an air fryer to prepare the chicken. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the ingredients for it, which is pretty simple. And then we're going to actually cut the chicken into cubes, and we're going to actually cook the chicken right here on set. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So the recipe for the grilled chicken on a stick calls for half a pound or a pound of skinless chicken breast or chicken strips. You can use cilantro, garlic, half a tablespoon of salt, and a zest of lemon. And the wooden or metal skewers is optional. For our demonstration today, we're going to be using toothpicks instead of the actual wooden skewers. And typically what you want to do if you are using the wooden skewers is you do have to soak those before you actually put them on the grill, because if you do not, they will burn. And there's also the option of using metal skewers, and those do not burn. So, and they're a lot more easier to work with if you are going to use the option of grilling the chicken on an actual grill. So I just wanted to make that mention, because once we put the chicken in the air fryer, we will not be putting it on any type of wood or a metal skewer. So we're just going to actually put the chicken in, but we're going to season it first. So I'm going to go ahead, and I have already, as you can see here, sliced some of the chicken, and I'm going to cut just one or two little bit more slices. I'm going to put it there, and then we're going to transfer that to the air fryer. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the air fryer for, let's see here, for about 30 minutes. I think is the time I have to do for chicken. So, and it's going to start to heat up. And as you can see here, and this is the Air Daddy, by the way, so the plate size is a little bit bigger. And so you start off pretty much with a clean slate, and the plate comes out, and you have your basket there. So yes, it's easier to click when you can actually put it on. And typically what the air fryer does is it circulates air, and it actually uses that air to fry your chicken. And what we're gonna do is just spray a little oil on the bottom. That way the meat does not stick onto the basket as much. And just in a second, we're gonna actually put our actual chicken inside of here. So I'm about to take one of the strips here, and I'm going to just cut it into little cubes. And so that way, and I've already done some of them. And so that way, whenever I get ready to put the little toothpicks in them later, I won't have to do that. So you do that there, and you throw that back in the little bowl. And next we need to season. So I'm going to transfer this to my little season bowl. And what's going to happen is I'm going to transfer it to my little season bowl. I'm going to season it, and then I'm going to put it in the air fryer. And so that's what's going to happen with that. And we'll be ready. And the air fryer is pretty much, with the air fryer, you typically don't have to preheat it or anything like that. So you don't have to worry about anything about preheating or anything like that. I always try to use a little bit of poultry seasoning on my chicken. And this is skinless chicken breast, so it's not been kind of, I guess you could say, it doesn't have a lot of fat on it, so it's skinless, so it's a lot more doesn't have as much skin fat. So, and I use this, it's more of a chicken seasoning. It's a store brand, tastes pretty good. Now, as we talked about earlier from the recipe, I recommended that you use cilantro, garlic, and lemon zest to flavor your chicken. Today, what we're going to do is use a Hidden Valley Ranch flavoring, just because of the simple fact that it has a lot of those flavors in it already, and it just is more efficient in terms of just putting all the ingredients on at one time, and it makes it so much easier. So we'll just put it on here, and usually I just put the whole pack on here. Sometimes at home I actually don't use the whole pack, but since I'm here, I will just use the whole pack with you all, so that way you can just see the true effect of it. But it's kind of floury as far as the seasoning itself, and it smells really good, by the way. And we don't in particularly promote any particular brand. It just happens to be that Hidden Valley just has to have some really good flavors. So once I get a good mix on it, I just use my hands actually, and I'm gonna change out my gloves because it gets a little messy, but I get that on there. And one thing I will mention is some people, if you want to do your own marinade at home, you can actually put butter and lemon pepper on your chicken and put it in a plastic bag and put it in a refrigerator for about an hour. And what you do is you pull it back out and you put it in a container and you put it in your air fryer in the stove, and it tastes wonderful. So just a little side tip on flavoring, and you can do marinades with your chicken or whatever you like. But right now we're gonna go ahead and put the chicken right down into the plate here. And as you can see, it's very little contact with me touching it. And we're gonna have to give that a little while before it actually gets done. You wanna make sure that it actually is laid across so that it cooks evenly. You spread it across each the whole basket. So you wanna make sure it's spread out pretty good, by the way. And it cooks fast. I've got it on about 25 minutes here. So we are gonna wait for that to get done. And we're going to just wait about 20 minutes and it should be ready. And we should have our little chicken fried sticks in just a little bit. Some additional things you can have for your chicken on a stick as far as some of your seasonings that you could use. And so typically people, for outside events or things of that nature, they have barbecue. And so we have some barbecue here that we will add to the chicken a little bit later. And we're going to cut it into cubes. And we will be adding it to the chicken in just a few seconds here. So, and this one has more of a, I would say kind of a hickory taste to it with honey barbecue. So, but I would highly recommend it if you have not tried it before. I had recently tried it, and it was pretty decent for a barbecue sauce. So I can't really promote anyone in particular, but out of the ones I have tried, I really do like this one. So just keep that in mind as you are preparing for the holiday, or if you're just preparing for just any kind of event, like a birthday party or something like that. And some other things to keep in mind when you are about to prepare to take your meat out of the air fryer. You want to make sure that your surface is clean from before. If you can remember, I had utensils that I was using, and I had added the chicken to one of these bowls, and there was debris, or not really debris, but there was seasoning on this little handle here. So you want to make sure all your utensils are clean, wipe down your surface. And you also want to make sure that you wipe down your cutting boards so that they don't have any germs on them, because what can happen is you can cross-contaminate all of your other dishes as far as putting raw meat here, and then if you don't clean it and you put it here, and let's say the meat comes out of here, makes contact with here, it can cross-contaminate and go to this clean bowl. So you want to make sure that you wipe down all your surfaces, make sure all of your dishes are cleaned and washed with warm soap and water, of course. And you would just want to make sure that you're following all of the safety guidelines in terms of making sure that your family and your friends are going to be safe. After the chicken actually comes out of the actual air fryer, I'm going to actually take it out, but there's going to be a process where I'm going to actually have to clean the basket out of the air fryer. So eventually that'll have to happen. And the air fryer itself, as it is actually cooking and circulating the air, is not extremely hot, but I do caution you, it does get warm. So you might want to just, you know, kind of keep kids away from touching it and doing things like that, because it can be a little bit of a hazard as far as that's concerned. The other big one is, as you saw earlier, the basket does come out, but I do want to caution you that you do have to unplug the air fryer before you, I would say, once it gets cooled down and all that. But you also do not want to immerse the entire air fryer in water. So that's one big safety tip. So, and it's done in a snap. So here we go. We're fixing to go ahead and take a look at it. And it looks like it got a little bit more char. It's got some little char on it. So I did this recipe a couple of weeks ago, and I did not get the char that I was actually hoping for, but this one actually came out a little bit better because we had it in there a little bit longer time. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer it to one of my little bowls here, and it's actually going to be pretty done. So we'll get to see in just a minute here. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a char on it. Like I said, I left it in here longer than I anticipated, but usually there is not like an actual fried look to it unless you put, I haven't tried to put flour on it. So it just kind of depends on what you put on it and that kind of thing. So other than that, it's just kind of a trial and error thing, and you just kind of go along with it. So, and there we are with that. So we're finished, and I'm going to attempt to put this back in here. So, and sometimes it's tricky in actually going back in. Got it in there that time. And so now we are at the process where we are with the chicken in our little bowl. And so what we want to do is put it either on some type of stick like I have here, a skewer, or you can use toothpicks. So it is your choice as to how you would like to have the chicken. But what we'll do here now is we'll just try one of the skewers so I can show you how it looks, because again, we did try this without the process of cooking the chicken traditionally on an actual grill. So, and I probably should have let the chicken cool a little bit, but it's not extremely hot. But I did want to see how it would look if we did put it on a skewer. And there's one. So looks pretty neat, I think. And so you would add them to a skewer. Like I said, it's your choice. Or you would add them to a some type of toothpick or something like that. But the whole idea is that you're putting it on a stick for the kebab effect and for easy access. So a lot of people do the kebabs with vegetables, such as you see the picture on my slide where there's some tomatoes and pineapples. So there's a lot of combinations that you can try. If you're looking for more of a lighter temperature on it, or you don't want it so brown, you can definitely I would say kick it down to about 15, maybe 20 minutes. Because the first time I did try chicken, and this one, I only tried it for about, I think, 25 minutes. So it makes a big difference, as you can tell, in time. With the barbecue, and I'll have to grab some gloves here. One thing that I would highly recommend is for your guests, if you are serving several people, that you put some barbecue sauce in some prepackaged little containers, so that way they can have their own set of or their own barbecue sauce. And trust me, they're gonna want some of this if you have it on hand. So I would definitely suggest that if you can have that available to them. You're gonna wanna have some little condiment containers and some little tops. And this is very efficient, especially if you're traveling or you're gonna be taking the food with you, where you don't want the barbecue sauce to kind of get all over everything. So, and like I said before, you don't want your guests touching everything, and it's just so much easier. So what you would do is just put a little in there, and it'll be your dipping sauce. So there you go. Or, you know, you do have the option as well as just putting it all over the chicken in some cute little swirly design or whatever you prefer. But like I said, if you're serving guests, I highly recommend these little condiment cups, which I am finding a little hard. There we go. It's closing easy now. And these condiment cups will save the rest of your food from getting barbecue sauce flavor on, say, your pound cake or, say, watermelon or something else that you may have on your plate, your potato salad or whatever else you may have as far as the side dish with your chicken on a stick.